Well, hey guys and gals, it's Hex here. Today I've got something quite awesome for you. This is an iron farm that is working in 1.14 with the new villager iron golemy spawning mechanics, and it produces somewhere between 500 to 1,000 iron per hour depending on how you use it. So actually AFK it's about 550 iron per hour, and non-AFK it's probably around 1,100 iron per hour. I haven't clocked the non-AFK one, but I'll explain that in a little bit. The design is really simple. It's just a bunch of villagers in the center surrounded by some water streams, and those water streams take the golems and takes them to a killing chamber from which we can harvest their iron. It's very simple. Sorry about the noise right there. Well, it used to be in 1.13 and before that in order to have a village, you needed to have an villager, and you also needed to have some doors that were supposed to be houses, and those doors had to satisfy certain criteria in order to be a house. And then if you had enough of these villagers and enough of these doors, then an iron golem would spawn. That's how it used to work. But now in 1.14 that is no longer the case. Now everything is about the villager and centers around this little feller right here. Well, not this feller, but these types of fellers. Where are you going, dude? Like, seriously, like, I'm trying to record a video. Can you just hang out for a second? Okay. So basically the way that it works now is that, yes, can I help you? The way that it works now is that golems spawn based on the villagers, and it's based on a mechanic which is very, I don't really understand it, and I don't know if anybody else does either, around these gossips. So basically what happens is if we have two villagers, at certain times in the day, these villagers will gossip with each other. They will face-to-face each other, and they will make funny noises, and they will stand there, and they will talk about things. Now, apparently the game code is such that the more of these gossips that occur, yes, gossiping. Yes, that's what you guys were doing. The more of these gossips occur, the more likely it is that a golem is going to spawn. That's the best way I can say it. So, essentially, you need at least 6 villagers to spawn a golem, because each villager has to spawn, or in order to spawn a golem, a villager has to talk to 5 of its buddies. So if we got this guy, then he has to talk to 5 of his buddies. So we need 6 of them. However, just the way that the mechanic works, and I don't fully understand it, is that the more villagers you have, the more gossips take place, the more golems spawn. So essentially all you need in order to spawn golems is a big pile of villagers, and then that will happen. However, a villager like these guys actually will not spawn a golem. The only kind of villager that will spawn a golem is one that has a bed and a job. Like that fisherman over there. So this guy now has a job, hopefully by using this barrel, he has a job. So in 1.14, in order to give a villager a job, they have to have a workstation like the smoker, the fletching table, the smithing table, the cartography table, the loom, and the other ones like that. I'm not going to go into all of those right now because that's not what this video is about. Then all of these villagers also have to have a bed. So we have 6 villagers, we have to have 6 beds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There we go. Hex can totally count. So we have 6 beds, 6 villagers, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. So now all of these villagers are employed and have a place to sleep. So now all of these guys can potentially, once they do their gossip thing that no one understands, they will be able to spawn a golem. So, how do we maximize that? Well, so far, the only way that I've seen to maximize it is to have a lot more of them. So that's where this thing comes in. So as I come in here, you'll notice that the entire bottom of this thing is made of beds. These are white beds. I just chose white because that's what the first one was that I picked. And then along here, what we have is we have a bunch of smithing tables or smokers or whatever. I just kind of grabbed a couple of random blocks. It seems to work no matter what the villager's job is. That doesn't seem to determine anything. Now, the only thing I haven't tried is I haven't tried trading with these guys to see if that increases or decreases the golem spawning. So none of these guys have been traded with, but all of them have a bed and all of them have a workstation. That is important. And there's a golem right there. I don't know what he's doing in the middle of the day. There's another thing that you need to know about this. Oh, right now, is a perfect time because right now they've just decided to start gossiping. So villagers will meet around a bell to gossip every evening at game time code 10,000. So if I go like time set 10,000 set 10,000, whatever time that is, it's like sort of early evening, I guess you could say in human terms, then they start to gossip. And so as they gossip, they're spreading the gossip about the golems, and the golems are spawning. And then as the golems spawn, they go into these water streams. The golems will spawn, it said, within 16 blocks of a villager. So I think the villager is the center of a 16-block circle is what that means, where the golem can spawn. So that's what all this glass is doing here, is basically preventing the golems from spawning on top of their workstations. And the beds are preventing them from spawning in this center area. So that means that the only place the golems can spawn is out here in these water streams where they're getting carried away down into our fancy golem killing mechanism. Now, the wiki says that there is one time where they gossip, and it's at that 10,000 time code. I think that's game ticks, but I'm not sure. The 10,000 ticks time is when they start to gossip until it's night time here. But that's actually not true. They actually gossip at another time, but they don't gossip around the bell. And that time is in the morning when they first wake up. So when they first wake up, they'll actually gossip with their neighbors. All right, we've woken the villagers up, and right away you can see a bunch of golems spawned. And that's pretty cool. So the reason that is significant is that when you are AFK, if you're just hanging out AFK, you've got a little AFK spot somewhere away from all the Endermen and the creepers and stuff. You're just letting this thing run, and you're in bed sleeping, or you're away from the computer or whatever. Then it's likely that you will just let the night run its course rather than sleeping through it. But if you sleep through the night, then it actually speeds up the time to the next gossip cycle, to the next morning. And so then that is the difference between having 10,000 10,000 iron. Wow, that'd be nice. 1,000 iron per hour versus 500. 500 would be AFK. 1,000 would be if you slept through the night, because it's basically cutting the day in half. So it would sort of double. It would be the amount of time, because the golems they only spawn twice a day, and twice a Minecraft day. They spawn in the morning, like you just saw, and now all the villagers are going to go to work, and they're not going to gossip again until later in the evening. So if you can sleep through the night, then it actually skips that period of time that is night, and then makes golems spawn more frequently during like a human hour. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is build the platform. So the platform goes something like this. Now, these dimensions don't really need to be exactly perfect. I have a 5 wide by 35 long center section that is made of glass. Now, the reason I did glass is so that the golems will not spawn on it. However, if you put beds on it, which most of this is going to get covered with beds anyway, the golems aren't going to spawn on that either, so you don't have to use glass. I'm just using... I use glass, honestly, for testing purposes over there, but I kind of recommend glass just in case like you have a couple spots that don't end up having a bed on them. That way the golems just will not spawn there. But if you want to save on glass, then just make it out of solid blocks. Doesn't matter. Then what you're going to do is you're going to surround that with solid blocks. So let me just tear this away a little bit. So I've surrounded it completely with solid blocks. So the 35 by 5, I surrounded that. So now it's like 37 by 7, I guess you could say. And then I extended out these wings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks. And that makes sense because if the villager, let's say that this cartography table thing is a villager. If a villager's standing right there, then the farthest away that golem's going to spawn from him is 8 blocks. So that makes sense that he would spawn right there. So that makes sense to me. Seems to be working just fine over there in the other farm. Okay, so 35 blocks long, 5 wide for the villager chamber in the center. Surround that with blocks, and then you're going to do wings of 7 on the outsides. You'll see that I put all these arrow tables things. Fletcher, maybe this is the Fletcher table? Fletching table? I don't even know. Anyways, I put those along there. You could use whatever villager station you want. I just had that in my inventory, so that's the one I use. You could use a smithing table, the whatever one. I kind of don't recommend the lectern because it's not a solid block, and I don't know like if things are going to be able to walk through it or not. Or maybe it is a solid block. I don't know, but I just didn't use the lectern. But you could use the lectern if you want to, probably. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to cover the bottom of this thing with beds. So as many villagers as you have, that's how many beds you have. I think I did, if I want to speak correctly, I think if there's 80 villagers in each one of these bays. So we're going to need 80 beds. So I know that's a lot of beds to make, but just get yourself a bunch of wood and a bunch of sheep and go for it. So then just lined it like this. And then in the center of this thing, I'm pretty sure this is the middle, but it doesn't have to be exactly the middle, but close to the middle. Go ahead and put a block and then put a bell right here. When I didn't put the bell on the block, if you just like set it right here, you can't even put it on. Oh yeah, you can put it on glass. Huh, that didn't work before. Anyway, if you put it right on there on the glass, it doesn't seem to be high enough if the villagers are walking around on the beds. It doesn't seem to be high enough so that it works or so that it registers. So put it on a block like that, and then that way that gives the villagers a center to congregate around. Now, you cannot craft a bell, so there's two ways to get a bell. You can raid a village, not do like a raid. You can just steal one from a village somewhere, or you can trade with the smith for it. So you can trade with the smith villager actually to get a bell if you need a bell. So there's one right there. Okay, so this side I left intentionally open because the next thing that you need to do is you need to get 80 villagers in here. So if you do not have 80 villagers that you can just spawn with spawn eggs, then you're going to need to do something in order to breed them. So let's talk about villager breeding for a second. I'm not going to do like a full tutorial thing on that, but basically what we need to breed some villagers is we need them to have food, and we need to we need to make sure that they have enough beds. Okay, so what I would probably do is I would cover this whole side of this thing with a farm of some sort like this. I'm probably not going to do the whole thing, but I'm just kind of showing you what I would do. I would take and do this, and then I would take whatever food you have, carrot, potato, what have you, and I would plant that in this, and then of course till all the field, and then I would probably do that for, I don't know, you don't have to do the whole side of it, but just do a lot. And then what you need is you need a couple of these farmer villagers. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get the composter. So you're going to have to craft some composters, and I don't think it's too hard to make one. I have no idea what the recipe is, but you can look that up and see. I'm just going to search for it. Composter. It's in miscellaneous. Why is it not in decoration? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, so then you need to make sure that you have some composters so that your farmer villagers are going to be able to farm. Now, I'd probably set them up like this. You can actually use these as workstations for the farm itself, so there's no need to like swap these out or anything. So then we're going to go ahead and get some farmers, and you'll have to either take them from an existing village or cure some... what do you call it? What are those things? Zombie villagers? The zombie villagers. You're either going to have to cure some of those, or you're going to have to, with mine carts or boats or something, bring them over to your farm, and then put a couple of those guys in, and then they should turn into farmers. And then they should start farming the field. And then once they farm the field, then they're going to start passing food back and forth between each other, and they're going to start to breed because there are beds available. Now, villagers will breed as long as they have enough food and as long as there's beds available in the area. I think it's within 32 blocks of the villager. I think it's a 64 circle around the villager to breed. So basically these beds have to be within 32 blocks of the villagers for them to breed. Okay, so then you're going to have a bunch of villagers breed, and then you're going to have something that looks like this, where there's like 80 bazillion, gazillion, gajillion villagers everywhere. Well, hopefully just 80. Anyways, the trouble is then, okay, well, how do I get all these guys so that they're all in the center portion here? If they're breeding and I've got farmland over here, how does that happen? Well, watch this. Once it goes to nighttime, all of these guys are going to go ahead, and get into their beds. So that's the time at which you can start building things. You can grab some more composters and you can do any building that you need to do, because they're just going to go right into their little beds, and then you can fill in the sides of this thing all the way here. I'm sorry it's a little bit dark. I will wake them up in a second. And what you want to do is you want to completely fill in the sides thusly, and you want to make sure that their stations are not below the bed level, if that makes sense. Let's open this up so these guys can get in here. There we go. It's super handy to have them go to their beds, honestly, because watch, they just kind of, you don't even have to like make sure that they're all in here. They just kind of walk to their beds because it's nighttime. So that's super handy. It used to be like to get a villager to go somewhere, you'd have to negotiate with them and push them around, and they would not want to go where you want them to go, and it's super annoying. But now all you have to do is turn it to nighttime, and they climb in their beds, and they're happy. All right. Then what you're going to do is, I'm sorry it's dark, but you're going to go ahead and take, let's pull out a torch here. You're going to take and you're going to line the top of this thing with glass so that the villagers can no longer escape from here, and the golems will not be spawning on top of any of this stuff. So now we've got a bunch of villagers, and they seem to all be happy. They're gossiping a little bit. Now, by the way, I'll take this time to mention that when you have a fresh set of villagers like this, especially when I just spawn them in, it does take a while for their gossips to build up. So the first couple of days you might not have any golems, but I promise they will start to spawn in mass once things get going, once it's been a few days and they've had a chance to gossip with each other. I think it takes like about 2, maybe 3 Minecraft days for them to do their gossiping enough so that the villagers will spawn. Anyways, once you get that done, you can go ahead and remove whatever farmland you had to get them breeding, and then you can start constructing the rest of your golem farm. All right, filling out the farm, what you want to do is you're going to take and you're going to put glass right there, and then you're just going to put glass all the way around here. Now, the bottom blocks don't have to be glass, but you definitely want a non-spawnable block on the top, because what we don't want is the golems to be able to climb out, and we don't want them to spawn on here either. Because if this was a spawnable block, then for sure a golem would spawn here eventually, and then he'd either fall off the side this way, or he'd just kind of stay there, and he'd eventually sort of mess with the efficiency of your farm. So you don't want that. So you don't have to build the sides out of glass, but it's highly recommended that at least the top block of this thing be made out of glass. And by the way, if you don't watch my channel, I do have a thing for white concrete. So I build a lot out of white concrete. You don't have to use white concrete either, and I'm using white stained glass. You don't have to use any particular color of glass, just a glass or non-spawnable block on the top would be great. You could even do full blocks and then a half slab on top. That would be fine, but it just has to make sure that the top block is non-spawnable so that the golems don't get stuck up there. So you're going to take and you're going to make a chamber like that, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take water, and you're just going to make some water streams. So we're going to put water all the way across here. In survival, all you need is 2 buckets. If you're not familiar with this method, you put 1 bucket there, 1 bucket over there, and then the middle one becomes a source, and then you just kind of leapfrog and get it all the way across. Then what you're going to do is take right here where the water ends, and we're just going to grab some signs, if we can find them in the new inventory. I'm always hunting through my inventory for stuff. Where the signs? Okay, there's a sign. Does not have to be any particular color of sign. And then you're going to just place signs like this all the way across here by shift clicking, sneak clicking, whatever you want to call it, all the way across. And then you're going to put another line of water, and you're just going to continue this until you get to the end of this thing. All right, I've gotten to this point with my water stream. Now, for some reason, like the water's been acting a little bit funny. I don't know if that's partly because I'm in a pre-release here, but it has been acting a little bit funny. So if you end up with this right here, what you don't want is to then start the next water stream right here. It's just not going to go very well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and put the signs back here a little bit, like this, and we're going to stop this water stream a little bit short, like this. And if you know how to do these water streams, of course, you can skip this spot and just fast forward a little bit. But if you don't know how to do them, then that's how you do it. And then you're just going to go ahead and place water here. But now it's going to flow off the end, which is super annoying. So all you have to do is take and put a block right there. And then we're just going to, or you could have done it on this side. Let's just do it on this side to be consistent. Doesn't matter. As you can kind of tell, like, this build is pretty non-technical. I mean, it's a bunch of villagers in the middle with some water streams on the side. There we go. So then you're going to do exactly that same thing to the other side right over here. Okay, that's done. The next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come down here, and you're going to come down by 1 block, and then we're going to go ahead and build 3 over like that, and then come back up like this. We want to come up at least 2 blocks like that. And then we're going to extend this across here and extend this across here like that. And again, you don't have to use glass. I'm liking to use glass for this part so I can see the golems coming in. But you could use solid blocks for all of this except for the top ones because we don't want golems or anything else spawning up there. That would be annoying. So then you're going to come over by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you're going to come down by 1 like that. And then that should bring us, yes, to the middle 3 blocks here. Okay, so we got 8 across here and then down here by 1. And that's just because water streams are annoying. I'll explain in just a second here. All right, then you're going to do that with that set and then all the way across here. Come over here by 8 and then down 1. And then we're just going to fill this in like this because this is going to be kind of where the golems are going to be getting washed to this center area. So then right in here we're going to have a center area that is 3 by 3 for the killing chamber. If you want to do a different type of killing chamber and you're used to this sort of thing as far as killing the golems, then by all means build the one that you like, but this is just the simplest one. All right, and then what you're going to do is right here we're going to take and put some signs. We're going to put 1, 2, and 3 signs, and I just realized that these actually need to be down by 1 block, so let's move these down 1. This. So that there's 2 at the end. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th one is a drop, and then 1 more, like that. And that's just to make it so we don't have to do a second water stream thing, because now you can see the water goes all the way to the sign, so that will push the golems all the way to the center. Took me a little bit to figure out the counting on that, but that works out just fine. Okay, you want to make sure that this water stream has a wall of 2 blocks high. That way the golems can't get out because the golems can just easily walk up over a 1 high wall. All right, we're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. All right, then what we're going to do is we're going to come down 2 more blocks to finish off this chamber here. Like that. So just 2 more is necessary, like that. Okay. There we go. Like this. And around here. There we go. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that this all has glass in it. This. Glass in it. That this all has, what are these things called? Signs. 1, 2, 3 signs. 4, 5, 6 signs. And 7, 8, 9 signs. Okay, make sure that you have all these filled in. So basically there's a gap between these signs that are stopping the water and these signs here. And then at the bottom of this, we can put our chest right here. Now, you're probably going to want to build a bigger storage system for this, but for now I'm just going to show you where the chest would go, or where the output would come from. So there is our chest right there. Stop shift clicking. There we go. And then we need a hopper, or we need 9 hoppers actually. If we could get them into our hotbar. There we go. All right, so then we're going to go ahead and put a hopper coming out of that chest like that. And then these hoppers are feeding into that one. So basically all of these hoppers, just make sure that they're feeding into this chest. Doesn't matter how the configuration is going. I just like to do a line down the center and then 2 coming this way. Okay, then the very last thing that you're going to do. Wow, we have golems already. Look at that. We need to get ready. Oh, and I need to fix this block right there and that block there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come in here before our golems start to flow in, and we're going to go ahead and put a bucket of lava right in between these 2 signs. So this is the top signs that are stopping this water, and these are the bottom signs that we just put in. We're going to put in just 1 lava bucket's good enough because it's going to cover that whole thing, and it's going to light them up. Okay, now we do have an issue here. I made an error earlier I said, hey, why don't we make this all the same and start our signs from this block? And that was really stupid on my part because I shouldn't have done that. What you want to do is start them from this end. That way you don't have to have this block here and it won't stop these guys from flowing. The only other part of this farm that you would want to do is stack another one on top. You could build as many of these as you want. The only limitation is how hard your computer is going to start working when you have like, let's see, if this is 80 villagers, then you have a second row that's 160. I mean, you're starting to get up there in the numbers of villagers. And so the question is, somebody just blew up somewhere. Heard a creeper. Oh, there it was. They're having a little golem versus creeper down here. As I was saying, you're not really limited other than by the fact that eventually you're going to have so many villagers that your computer's going to crash. And so that's pretty much the limit of how many villagers you can have and the extent of the iron production that you're going to do out of this farm. So, yeah. Well, okay, guys and gals, this has been Hex. I hope that you try this iron farm out. It's really easy to build. It's the only thing that's going to take you a little bit of time is breeding up that many villagers. But other than that, this thing is a cinch to build, and it's going to produce a lot of iron for you. So I think that this is going to be a great build for you. Go ahead and give it a try. Let me know how it works out. And as always, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and God bless.